Hey everybody, I'm Sierra,
And I'm Ben.
and welcome back to another episode of The Unsolved Couple, where every week Ben and I recap one of your original gateway drugs into true crime.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Okay, I feel like we need to say the quiet part out loud at the top.
I don't know what the quiet part out loud is.
The quiet part out loud is that it is an after dark episode.
After Hours. That's from Gaffigan.
Yeah, Jim Gaffigan.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's not that kind of after hours.
No.
That's why I didn't say after hours. I said after dark. And
After dark.
do you feel like you are a morning bird or a night owl?
I'm both.
Oh, well, put a rose on your nose.
I like staying up late.
Mhm.
Later, mind you, but I go to bed during the work week at like 8:30 at night.
I know, which is like elementary school bedtime.
I guess me staying up is 11. So I think that's a
what
lot.
Most like Americans. Let us know, guys. What time do you go to bed?
Yeah, you know what? I think more adults go to bed earlier.
Children, you and I like watched the 10 o'clock news.
Yeah, well, and I remember like watching David Letterman as a teenager, and that didn't come on until 11:30 at night.
Yeah, even as early adults, we watched those shows.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I like staying up late, but then I don't like sleeping in. I like to be up early. I guess anywhere between 6:30 and 7:30.
That's crazy talk.
So
I'm an afternoon alpaca.
Afternoon alpaca.
Yeah. That just means I don't really like to do anything before 11, and I don't really like to do anything after about 8 o'clock at night.
Fair.
But if you catch me between 11:30 and 7:30, you are going to get peak Sierra.
But the other 16 hours.
The other 16 hours.
Don't bother me.
No.
Shoo-fi, don't bother me.
No, literally, I'm at the stage in my life, because we don't have little toddlers at home anymore, that if anyone expects me to be somewhere before 11, I am slightly annoyed by it. And I get that that's unreasonable.
Hey, you know what? You do you.
I know. And here's Ben, who
I support it.
Ben,
I support you.
What time does your work start?
I have to be ready to go at 5 a.m. Like shift starts.
Not leaving the house at 5 a.m.
No.
You have to be there, present and accounted for.
Dressed, ready to go.
About 5 a.m.
Yeah, shift starts at 5.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know if I could function in the world of non-entrepreneur. Because here's the thing. I've worked for myself now for years now. Like,
yes.
I am not just, and I don't say just as in like, because trust me, staying at home is a full-time job. But I haven't had management above me telling me what time. I set my own schedule, and like that has pros and cons. That means sometimes I'm working while we're sitting in Disneyland or taking phone calls in the airport as we're trying to like get places. I don't know, man, if I could clock into a job again.
A lot of us do it.
I know. And there is also a simplicity of like, this is what time I'm expected to be there. And I will say one upside of your job is when you clock off and you come home, you are not.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously the pros and cons of both. I'm not a very adventurous, risk-taking person in a lot of things. I think especially when it comes to. I think that's one of the reasons
why our marriage works the way it does.
So I enjoy knowing my job is stable, secure, whatever.
Yeah.
So showing
up. And I
up.
have wanted to always be my own boss as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
And that doesn't stress me out or bother me.
Yeah, that stresses me out too much.
See?
That would stress me out.
All right. Okay. Well, up front, this is an after dark episode, which means
I like recording more at night. I enjoy it.
Okay, and not only is this an after dark episode, but we also left the house at 9:30 this morning, drove to Phoenix, went to a baseball game that went into overtime, and then
It's
drove
not overtime.
the way
It's
home.
extra innings. Crap.
What?
Next week, we'll have to be better prepared. We have an update on a prior story.
Oh, sugar beets. I know. Dang it. I was going to do
That's
that.
okay. This is a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Which episode is this? 17?
Yes, we are our season 4, episode 17. And real quick, guys, just before we get started, please remember to leave us a 5-star rating and review. We haven't had a rating or review on Apple Podcast in several weeks. So the first one who does it, gold star, huge shout out. I appreciate you. Hugs and kisses. May all of your dreams come true. And 2, also comments on Spotify. Follow us on social media, yada, 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 plug, plug, plug. And support our podcast by clicking one of the links below, buy me a coffee or support this podcast. And actually, later in the show, I've got a shout out thank you to one of our patrons who did a buy me a coffee. So whenever you do one of those, I'll reach out to you through social media or through that link and ask you either tell me one of your favorite unsolved mystery episodes or maybe one of your favorite memories, nostalgia from the 90s.
We got 4 stories.
We have 4 stories today for you guys. And the first one is about a man named James White. He is haunted. 71-year-old John Constable and his 70-year-old wife, Virginia, are a sweet, cute little retired couple that have been married for 45 years. And Sunday, March 3rd, 1991, they leave their home in Davenport, Florida to drive to Linda's home in Jacksonville. It's about a 3-hour drive away. So around 12:30, they have headed out, and the reenactment shows them just kind of talking in the car. They're excited to go see their daughter. They're only a few miles from their home. They are heading north on Country Road 445 in Kissimmee, and just ahead of them, southbound, is a pickup truck that is being driven by a 32-year-old scumbag. His name is James White. He is heavily intoxicated, and he is a house painter. I don't know why they felt the need to include that, but they tell us that, so I'm telling you that. No one knows exactly what time of the day this man started drinking, because mind you, it's lunchtime. It's 12:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
This is not 12:30 p.m. Not that makes any difference, but I don't know.
Yeah, a drunk driver is a drunk driver, but it also, you're like, what's wrong with you? Like,
yes, you need professional help if you are driving drunk at 12:30 in the afternoon. He, at least per the reenactment, and I think I tried to do some research. It seems like he was driving north and he nearly collided with a vehicle. And in order to like swerve out of the way of that vehicle, he crossed over into another lane of traffic and sadly hit John and Virginia's car straight on. And by 12:43 that afternoon, the highway patrol and rescue teams, it looks like a helicopter was there, so the medevac team was there, had arrived at the scene. Tragically, John is actually pronounced dead at the scene. Virginia suffered massive internal bleedings. Injuries. They said that nearly every organ in her body had been ruptured. And within an hour of being life flighted out, she passes away at an Orlando trauma center. White survived his accident.
but I think someone says, I don't know if it was the officer or Robert Stack says, unfortunately, the drunk driver is usually the one that survives.
As he's loaded into the ambulance, the highway patrol guy who's interviewed notices immediately the smell of alcohol. And so he performs a blood test, and he had a blood alcohol count of 0.22, which is more than twice the legal limit of 0 or 0.10. And Ben explained to us one time that means that like 22% of his blood was alcohol. Is that kind of what that means?
I'm pretty certain.
Okay.
Because the legal limit, I guess at that time it was 0.1, but now pretty much nationally it's 0.08.
Yeah, I was going to say for Florida was really living on the edge back then because that seems like a lot.
I imagine that I remember as a teenager when the limit got changed to 0.08 in Oregon. It was a big deal.
I worked at a restaurant when I was 18. No, earlier than that. I was in high school, I think. I don't know. I can't remember. But I had to have a liquor license or I had to have You had to take a class in order to be able to serve alcohol. And so if you're looking something up, can you also look up how many people are killed a year per drunk drivers? Robert Stack gave us that. And I want to say I looked it up after watching this episode. And of course, I forgot to write it down. But what he told us versus what it is today, it has gone down, which is great, but it's not gone down as much as you think it should when you like include apps and Ubers and Lyft and all of the other resources that are available. So this man obviously is heavily intoxicated. He's taken to Kissimmee Memorial Hospital, 12 miles away. Later that day, Linda, the daughter, is at home and she starts to get worried. I think she said it was about 4 o'clock. And her parents haven't arrived. So she calls the Florida Highway Patrol to learn of their whereabouts. And shortly after just getting off the phone with them and trying to file a report, a patrolman arrives at the door. She assumes when he's arriving that he's just coming to take the report.
Yeah, this is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody wants this.
No, nobody wants this. And unfortunately, he's there to inform her that there had been a terrible accident and that unfortunately it had ended in a fatality. And she says, which one? And she said that she never in her wildest dreams, even in that terrible moment, thought that the police officer would say, or the patrolman would say, both of them. And she said basically at that point, she has no memory after that point, kind of just following what's happening.
It's terrible.
So White has suffered a broken jaw, a broken ankle, and 3 broken ribs. His jaw was wired shut. And just put a little pin in that because I think when your jaw's broken and it's wired shut for several weeks. And he's admitted to the ICU. For some reason, his family, who lives in the area, is able to visit him, and they become a constant presence at the hospital over the next few days. And on March 6th, which was Sierra's birthday, so really, really bad day for these people to be making poor choices because the world at that point was celebrating like my 7th or 6th birthday or something like that. His relatives that evening take him out for a walk and sneak him out through a back unguarded rear door of the hospital, never returning.
This makes me so
First
angry.
off, yes. 1, this was a preventable tragedy. 2,
don't even get me
this
started.
man is human garbage. 3, where do you get off?
Didn't
protecting him?
Didn't he have multiple DUIs?
Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing. This wasn't his first, like, whoopsie daisy. He had multiple DUIs.
You're going to get me into my rant.
Okay. And you have a valid reason for having this rant.
I have zero tolerance for people that drive drunk.
You and I just had this discussion actually right before we even watched this episode.
And I don't care if I offend people. If you drive drunk, I have zero respect for you. I think you're a terrible person. I just do. And this is why. Because when you do it, you are putting innocent lives who are out in the world having zero. They have no idea what's going on.
This couple was going to visit their daughter on a Sunday afternoon.
And here's the thing.
You and I just drove to Phoenix and back on a Sunday afternoon.
I have a friend growing up whose sister, and I knew the whole family, 3-year-old daughter and sister was killed. I was almost killed by a drunk driver.
Yeah.
He hit me, T-boned me at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of patience for it. And then for the family to then know that he killed 2 people and know that he's facing charges, but obviously you have to be in the hospital, you have to recover.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But then to not just like look the other way, but concoct a plan to get him out. Holy smokes.
I know. And I thought it was interesting because to me, his jaw was wired shut, which means either A, he had to concoct a reason to get it unwired shut, or like they were well aware of that and like the family cut it open. Like that. Just a PSA, you guys, Uber, Lyft. There are so many ways today. Like it is actually like so easy not to drive drunk.
Yeah,
So what are the stats? Do you have and did you look it up?
my phone doesn't work.
Like,
Wait, no, I've been having this major problem that I don't know what's going. If it's the phone, it's the internet. I can't. It just is not working for me. So, but sorry, I got them.
okay.
I get a
In
little bit of rants, but
2023, at least according, this is just a quick Google search. There was 12,429 people killed in an alcohol impaired driving in the United States alone. That averages 34 people per day dead due to drunk driving, or one person every 42 minutes. That is nuts, you guys.
that's too bad.
Yeah.
And I'm sure.
And
Like,
here's the thing, it's 30% of all fatalities involving a vehicle. That's the other like statistic that just is baffling to me, is that if we just eliminated drunk driving, 30% of fatalities, including, and I will say, I know for Tucson, because we have friends that are in Tucson PD. We had a friend that was, and this was a couple years ago, he told me in Tucson, the number one fatality for car accidents is drunk driving. It's our number one here.
well, yeah, I mean, they have a DUI squad, and that's all they do. And
Yeah.
we had a friend that was on that, and
Mhm.
it's crazy, and it's just too bad.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen. We'd all just need to be more responsible.
Yeah, the blood alcohol is 0.8 is pretty much throughout the whole United States now. Okay. So not to get too much, I just was like, when this episode went from just being because it wasn't even a hit and run, which is the other thing we see sadly with drunk driving sometimes, is this man was in custody in a hospital. And I tried to look. I could not find any consequences for the two because he would have been arrested. So you helped someone.
Well, that happened to me when I was hit by the drunk driver. He hit me.
That's right.
He hit me in another vehicle.
Yeah.
Sent me to the hospital in an ambulance, and one of the other people in the vehicle was life flighted, and the other person was transported. Almost killed those two people.
Yeah, he hit you guys at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blew a red light, hit us.
Mm-hmm.
He went to the hospital. Once he was able to walk, he snuck out of the hospital and got away. It was like
he went on the run for a few years, didn't
5
he?
years later.
Yeah.
I think he was finally caught, and they notified me that he'd been caught and charged with it. But yeah, I mean, it happens.
Yeah. Sadly, it does. I know. So unfortunately, this scumbag has never been seen since. And so investigators have since discovered that White has a long history of drunk driving. The only clue they had for his whereabouts was a driver's license. It was issued in North Carolina. However, when the investigators went to that address, he's not there, and nor had he ever really been tied to that address. He's now wanted to be charged with vehicular manslaughter in this sweet, sweet couple's death. So.
All right, update.
Captured, you guys.
Awesome.
Here's the best part. 2 days after the broadcast, they said that they got 300 phone calls of people who knew who this Loserville was. But a viewer contacted the police claiming that they had seen White in, of no other places, a bar.
A bar.
Yep.
Shocking.
In Burlington, Virginia. He was arrested soon thereafter and 2 weeks later returned to Florida to face charges. He pled no contest on 2 counts of DUI and manslaughter and was sentenced to 11 years in prison and 15 years of probation. Driver's license was permanently revoked. And he was also ordered to pay $12,000 to cover burial expenses. He was released in 1996 and then quickly in November was found in violation of his probation. I couldn't find out why.
Probably driving drunk.
Or just driving. His license was revoked. Yeah, I mean, anything. And was sent back to prison and then was released again in February of 2013. I couldn't find anything on him.
So he went back for a while.
The problem is that his name is James White. So when I tried to look up arrest records for
James White, there's probably a lot of arrest
in Florida and all these other places. I got a lot of names.
Hey, at least he was captured. He did his time.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to put it out there that maybe he decided to turn his life around. And I'll tell you what, if he didn't, what do we always say? I hope not a day goes by where he doesn't cut his toenails too short and that he gets all the paper cuts.
It just, like I said, it breaks my heart when I see innocent people just out and about and they're killed by drunk drivers. But
Even
I'm sure we can say that
yeah.
about a lot of,
Well, even
that's
today while
true
we were
crime, right?
driving to Phoenix and back, we're on I-10. I saw so many people on their phones with their heads down, texting or talking. I saw one lady, which is just as weird to see people now, like with their phones on their ear. And it wasn't young people. And we're getting older.
Uh,
But people older than us, if I see a woman that appears to be like in her 70s talking on her cell phone, driving 90 down the freeway, I'm concerned.
I'm worried.
I'm worried. So just be safe, everybody out there.
Public service announcement.
Public.
Don't drive drunk and be safe while you're
The
out.
hot take from the unsolved couple.
That's right. We're
Don't
telling
drink and
you guys have
drive.
probably never heard that before.
Drink responsibly, right? Okay.
All right. Are you ready for my story?
I'm big.
And guess what? I got my
ready.
nose up. My nose up?
You had your nose up?
Nose up?
Ooh, snooty Ben coming in hot.
I am really snooty. I just was like,
He's got his nose up.
I was talking down to
He's got
people.
his nose up and his notes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I got a lost love for you. Oh, man.
How quickly you went from snooty to annoyed.
Yeah. This was an interesting one, I guess. All right. We're going to get told the story of Eleanor Platt and John Elias. And this is back in the 50s. And what do we know about the 50s? What this story is based around racial bias and
that people
and
were
racism
back then. Yeah.
Okay, but this is happening in Buffalo, New York, in 1953. Eleanor Platt is a high school student. Gonna guess around her senior year. She's not quite 18. They show us in the reenactment. They're at like definitely like a 50s diner where
It was the quintessential like
you know what it
soda
reminded
shop.
me of? Yeah, it reminded me of
Back to the Future.
Back to the
This soda
Future.
shop. That's
or
what I thought of.
wasn't there like one they hung out at Saved by the Bell?
Saved by the Bell, they hung out in a restaurant and it was not a soda shop. And it was like the decorations in that thing were peak like 80s Taco Bell vibe.
It was
almost.
very Back to the Future style. All right. Eleanor sees John come in and she's smitten by him. She's like, have you seen him before? They're like, no. And she's like, I think he's so cute. And this is how the reenactment is. Okay, but John, guess what? He's African American. Eleanor is white. And John is 11 years older than her.
Yeah, record scratch on that. That's a significant age gap.
She's 17.
Yeah.
He's 28. Okay.
There's a lot I hate about this story, and 90% of it falls on other people's behavior. But I do.
There's just a lot of lot to take in on this story.
I cannot give a thumbs up to 11-year age gap with someone under the age of 18.
I guess I have a daughter. If she was 17 and she brought a 28-year-old
Oh,
home,
absolutely not.
I wouldn't be happy.
Nope. Mm-mm.
But it doesn't seem that the age seemed to be the problem. It seemed to be the race,
Mm-hmm. Sadly,
which is terrible and unacceptable.
Absolutely.
So they fall in love. He asks her to marry him. And she's like, I don't know. He had to ask her twice. She's like, okay. So they're going to get married and she's going to move in with him. She says, let's wait till after Christmas. So December 26th, because she says, my father's going to object to this. And, December 26th, 1953, she runs away and she moves into John Elias's apartment. And they live together for about a month. And January 26th comes around and Eleanor says, listen, I got to go back. Because guess what? Eleanor believes that she might be pregnant. And she's still not 18. I guess they say she turns 18
I thought there was like 3 days. Like she's 3 days shy of her 18th birthday.
But they don't explain 3 days shy of what. Because, and the reason I say that because she comes home, she tells her dad, He's very upset. She tells him she's pregnant. He's extremely angry. And so he says, listen, I'm going to take care of this. You're going into a home and I'm going to call so-and-so, who I guess he knows somebody in City Hall, and I'm going to have John arrested. So John is arrested. And that's where they say he was arrested because she was 3 days shy of 18. So not quite sure, but I'm going to guess at the end of January. But so he's arrested for rape. She's put into a home because I guess that's what you did in the 50s if you were a female and you got pregnant outside of wedlock. Seems a little strange.
One of the stories that I'm getting our sexual assault and like things messed up. Were you No, I think it was with my dad. There was the same thing, Neighbors in Texas, and there was a grown man, he was like 23, who fell in love with like the 16-year-old neighbor girl. That was with my dad. And the parents had him arrested for statutory rape. That wasn't you.
Nope.
No.
I'm not. None of this is ringing a bell.
Okay. But this story is very similar to the one I guess I covered with my dad, in case anyone's feeling like you've heard this before.
So we get told about her dad. The mom actually comes in. Eleanor's mom says like he was a drunk, he was angry, he was abusive, and she pretty much says like I just went along with it because it just made life easy. I just did what he said, which is very sad. So John pleads guilty. He's sentenced to 9 months in jail. And Eleanor goes to a home on September 13th, 1954. She gives birth to a little girl named Rosemarie. And they said she was in a home for unwed mothers. So the home pretty much tells her she needs to give up this child for adoption. She doesn't really want to. But then the child is placed in temporary custody of social services. Again, none of this makes sense, but it doesn't make sense because it's the 50s. So
I think
the
it's
world
the
was
50s,
different.
and I feel like the dad might have called in some favors.
Kind of sounds like
Yeah.
that. So the child's placed in social service custody. She gets out of the home. John gets out of jail, and they reestablish. They're back together. She's now 18. They're in love. He proposes to her again. She says yes. They go to her house because I don't know why. I mean, she wants her family to accept her, what she's doing with her life. They go to tell her family that they're going to get married. They show up. Guess what? Dad's not happy. He's angry. In the reenactment, he says, oh, you're going to marry her? Marry this. And he pulls a shotgun. And John runs out. John runs away, obviously, because he's now being threatened with violence and a gun.
He's got a shotgun in his face. He's out of there.
And then I didn't research this. Maybe I should have. Eleanor is arrested for disobeying orders from her parents.
Again, Ben, I am telling you, this was a small town. I think that we don't get a ton about her father's history other than he's an alcoholic.
We just have
and that he's violent.
His wife.
Yeah, and that she kind of let him do what he needed to do, or
Yes.
She did not say this, but it seemed like she let him do what he needed to do, because if not, then she became the punching bag sort of thing. He seemed to rule that house with an iron fist.
Clearly.
Okay, you and I talked about the Italy story. Remember the Italian restaurant dad who put his daughter in a home?
I think that was in England, but he was from Italy, right?
Okay, yes.
I think I remember. I try to forget.
What is crazy is that how do we have multiple of these stories?
I don't know.
Anyways, her dad seems like a real winner. And that was dripping with sarcasm if nobody could see my face.
His own wife seems to throw him under the bus. He's made to be the villain in this story.
Yeah, I mean, he's a racist drunk. I don't think he was a good guy. He had his own daughter arrested after she was 18 years old because she didn't obey him.
I don't understand that. Here's the thing. I can understand you not being happy that your 17-year-old daughter is dating a 28-year-old and got pregnant by him.
Yeah, I think that we've
You
got to
know,
have some
if
conversations.
I mean, if it is driven by racism, not good. But like I
The age
said,
gap is a
the
problem.
age gap is a concern for anyone.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe I'm putting a 2026 lens on this, but I think in the 50s, sleeping with a 17-year-old being 28 is still probably looked down in society.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing, you have these two people telling the story and they were happy with what was going on.
Is it Eleanor? Is that her name?
Yeah.
She professes like how much she loves
She loved him and he loved her. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. All right. I'm just telling the story.
Guys, this story is there's a lot of feelings and it's very complex.
And I also think we're not getting the whole story. Like they're telling us the story, but there's a reason for this story. So I think it's like, hey, here's the backstory.
This girl over the age of 18 ends up arrested for not following her parents' rules.
None of that makes sense.
Because that's not against the law.
How do you have and why? Why would you have your child arrested? What you're going to stop a marriage? That seems a little.
You are a control freak. I think it's so sweet that you find that hard to believe because I can tell you from my perspective in life, I'm not shocked by that behavior. It's just because you as a husband and father you could not even imagine ever.
Well, I would never treat my kids this way.
Yeah. But you also would never treat another human this way, period, end of story. Yeah. And
I'm also confused. What law is this? What law is this? Your 18-year-old daughter, you can have her arrested for disobeying your order? What? Yeah. Anyways, so she is.
Here's the thing, Ben, sadly, that was most of history.
So she is sentenced to 3 years in a juvenile facility. She's 18.
I would also like to point out that there are still places in the world today that women could be arrested for not listening to their fathers.
Like yes, but not in America.
I know, not in America. That's just, I'll get off my feminine soapbox.
So she's placed in this facility. John's trying to find her. He's searching high and low. He obviously can't get a hold of her because she's locked in a dungeon somewhere by the city and state. And yeah, so they tell her that she can have a reduced sentence if she signs papers for Rosemary, their daughter, to be adopted. And she says she's distraught, she's upset, and even she says, I made a mistake. And she signed the papers. Terrible. Terrible. I mean, they really, they strong-armed her. And I mean, you threatened her. And so she does it. The child is adopted. She's released 6 months later. She still had to do 6 months, which is wild. And John then tells us he was pretty much run out of town. He was stopped by the police constantly. He was harassed everywhere he went to the point it was so bad he couldn't get a job. And he left. He had to leave. Terrible. So they go on. They never get back together. They never see each other or reconnected. Eleanor eventually does marry. She marries in 1977 to a man by the name of Stephen Wozniak. I said that wrong and I apologize. Due to complications she had from her first child, she was not able to have children. So
that broke my heart.
It's terrible. But they still tried to do good in the world. They raised 4 foster kids, and good for them. John was eventually married. He had 2 kids of his own. And eventually they said, listen, we want to find this daughter that we had together and tell her the story. And good for them. So they ended up reconnecting in 1987. And with the blessing of each of their spouses, which their spouses say, hey, listen, we understand what you guys are trying to do, and we support you in doing this. So they get together and are trying to find their daughter. They have been unsuccessful. So they're not trying to get back together.
All things aside, Do you feel like in this interview, it seemed like there was some unresolved feelings between these two?
No.
You didn't feel that
No,
way?
I honestly didn't.
You didn't think that?
No, I
Yeah,
mean, it's 40
I felt
years,
it. Yeah, I know it was 40
30
years.
something
And here's the thing.
years.
I think that both of those spouses are incredible people.
Absolutely.
I am not saying that. It was just I anytime I hear something like this where it's like the spouses, find out something or are supportive of something, I always try to be like, what would that be like? The way they spoke of each other, you could tell, and this is really hard for me to say because I do not believe someone of that age should have been dating someone of that age. But if we just, I guess, set that aside, the way that they spoke about each other, they clearly, I don't think, ever really stopped caring and loving for each other.
But they also share a child together.
Well, that's what absolutely they do share
It's
a
one
child.
thing like
Yeah.
everyone has their high school sweethearts or
Mhm.
whatever, right?
I never had a high school sweetheart.
Okay. Okay. That's a
You are the only man
let me just tell
in my
let me just
life.
tell all the listeners that's a lie. And that's okay.
No, you and I have talked. Yes, we absolutely, like everyone most of us, I would say, had our first love,
Absolutely.
high
And
school
so,
sweetheart that we thankfully, in our situation, didn't marry because then
yes.
we found each other. But those people will always hold a special place in your heart. But then to add a child into it and a forced like separation would be, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I don't know. I can't really compare anything I went through to this. It's
No,
totally different.
no, yeah.
And I didn't have a child with
You weren't run out
with
of
the girl I
town
dated.
because of the color
Yeah, I
of your
wasn't run out of
skin.
town.
I wasn't arrested for not obeying my parents at 18 and a half years old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't get that feeling. I hope that's not the case because they've now been married to their spouses for long times.
They were sitting on the couch together and they looked like a couple. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, but good for the spouses, good for them. They're trying to come together and find their daughter.
Yeah.
So
A
that's
daughter
kind
that
of
they never wanted to give up.
they never wanted to give up. Eleanor says it was a huge regret of her life, and understandable. And so,
Well,
and they also want their daughter to know the story so
yeah.
that she knows that it wasn't that we didn't want
She
you.
was tricked into signing that paperwork.
Not even tricked. She was threatened.
Threatened.
She was threatened with 3 years of
Coerced,
prison.
threatened. Exactly. That's insane.
That's
It's insane.
yeah, absolutely.
Shame on the judge and the clerks and
Shame on everyone involved
in that. Yeah.
And especially because, again, we could get into the whole thing. Anyways, that's where Unsolved Mysteries leaves
Well, it's
us.
an After Dark episode, so all the tangents are here with us.
They're
tonight.
all here.
Okay.
All right.
This is where
Update.
Unsolved Mysteries leaves. What is our update, Ben?
Solved. A coworker, a lady by the name of Sally Riley, it's not Rosemary anymore, recognized her. I'm going to guess Sally Riley had told her story. Calls her, says, hey, you ever watch Unsolved Mysteries? Well, you're on it. 2 weeks later, they did get to meet up. And Sally Riley had a fiance at the time, and she has 2 boys. She got to meet them. They got to get together and try to establish a relationship. So, Facebook.
Did you see anything?
I didn't really look.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, they got together, they met, they reconnected.
Unsolved Mysteries did its job.
Unsolved Mysteries did their job.
Mm-hmm.
How they went about their lives after, that's on them.
That is on them. Okay, well, I hope they went on to have at least be involved in each other's lives and it to be a happy, positive thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Whatever that looks like for them.
A 35-year wish in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that everything went well.
I
hope
so.
they all have relationships and it's healthy.
Do you want to know an insane fact I heard today? And I am going to butcher this. And it could also be incorrect because, whoa, that was creepy. We just heard like a banging on our window.
It's just stuff in the backyard getting blown.
that if someone was 2,000 light years away from our planet right now and they had a telescope that they were able to see our planet, they would be looking down on the Roman Empire right now.
Why? That
Because
doesn't make any
yeah, because
sense.
images travel. So like the starlight we're seeing at night is like thousands and thousands of years old by the time our eyes actually reach it. Does that make sense? We are seeing a reflection of a star that of light that doesn't exist anymore.
Okay,
Does that make
I don't think
sense?
I'm understanding.
So our eyes absorb light, right? And that's how we're able to
But that
see
light
things.
doesn't exist anymore
But that light doesn't exist anymore. And so that
in
if
present time.
someone was looking through a telescope 2,000 light years away, if they were to look at us, they would be 2,000, like basically by the time our Earth image reached them, they would be looking down at Roman
So the
Empire.
Roman Empire
In a
image is traveling out there.
through outer space, and a different sort of
And if
context.
you were 2,000 light years and you said, "Oh, look at this telescope I just created. Let me look." Boom, I looked. I'd be
You would think
seeing
these people are really
I'd
behind
be
the times.
seeing dudes in
Robes,
robes and
backstabbing each other.
Yeah,
Mhm.
backstabbing. Oh, that was a good
Yeah.
one.
But you know what?
Can I ask this question?
Yeah,
What does that have to do with anything we were just talking about?
I don't know. What were we talking about?
I don't know. Where are we?
Oh, I know how
What
this. Okay.
What are we
You guys,
doing?
let me show you how my ADHD brain works. Ben said something along the lines of like, I hope 35 years in the future that you like have had a good life because
I'm saying
I understand that because we're talking about a story that happened 35 years ago. So do you see where the connection took place?
not really.
You said, I am hoping 35 years later, if you're hearing this, that like things turned out well. So we're sending this out into the universe and on a distant plane somewhere they will meet in a space time.
Space
And
continuum.
a space continuum. That made me think of the fact that I saw today.
All right, what do you have for us
Okay,
next?
real quick, before we get on to my story, I have to give a huge shout out to Miss Kristen Johnson. She is one of our patrons. She follows us on social media, and she also has been very supportive of leaving us a review as well as support us in Buy Me a Coffee. So I asked her about our favorite Unsolved Mysteries episode, and she said that there are too many of them to list. Same girl.
Too many.
Too many to list. Ben, what's your favorite Unsolved Mysteries episode?
Zero.
Zero of them.
None of them.
Favorite 90s memories? Dancing to the great music that came out of the 90s. True that. I have a whole playlist about 90s music, and it's one of my favorites.
I'm sorry, what? Dancing to what?
90s music.
Oh.
All of the great music from that
I
time.
thought you said grave.
Yeah, grave music.
I was so confused.
What grave music was?
Yes.
No,
What is
great
grave?
music. Watching vintage TV.
What's your favorite 90s great music?
Oh, there's same thing. Too many to choose from.
All right. Sorry.
Watching vintage TV with friends, watch parties, especially Star Trek. Oof, I do have to disagree with you on Star Trek. Not my bag. Star Trek TNJG. I don't know what that means. And DS9.
I never watched any Star Trek.
No. That guy with the weird forehead that needed Botox freaked me out. Also, the innocence just of the 90s, which you and I have talked about before. No social media. It was a little bit more relaxed. I love online stuff but kind of miss the more innocent times. Same. So again, support us, you guys. We use all of that funds to roll over into all different kinds of fun things that you guys basically just get back. And if you do any of those things, let me know and I'll send you a little note in the mail along with some stickers. And eventually at some point, we're going to have a Patreon where we will have extra bonus content for you guys. Okay. Now, I've got an interesting story for you. Statin bones. unknown remains, which was not something I ever thought was going to be a category on Unsolved Mysteries.
This is grave music.
This is grave music.
I see. I sent us right into
Okay,
this
my
story.
connection between your thought and my thought made more sense than grave music and unknown remains.
I don't think so.
An unknown woman's remains are found in a small metal box in a shed on Santa Cruz Island, off the coast of California. Once again, you guys, we are introduced to an eccentric and deeply private person named Dr. Carrie. You forgot about this story. You're muted, by the way. I will say, I don't think I'm ever going to get the opportunity to be considered deeply eccentric or what is the word?
Eccentric.
Eccentric. But I would love to be. That is like a goal of mine someday, to be like, that lady's a weirdo. So
I just want to be the private person that doesn't talk to anybody. Hence from coming from the guy doing a podcast.
Yeah. So Dr. Staten owns an island, which goals. And
Agreed. I want an island.
not only does he own an island, this is not a tropical island.
Did he get to name the island?
I don't think so. But he owned an island that was also worked as a cattle ranch. So, I mean, that's been your dream. You get to own a ranch and it's on an island, so nobody can come visit you unless
That
you
is
are
my
aware
dream.
that they're coming.
I live on my own island. I have my own ranch, and no one can visit me, and no one can come around.
Outside of the story, I did read a few fun things about him, and so remind me, and I'll tell you one of my favorite stories I read about him later. So he's the owner of the island, and in life, a lot of people found this man quite fascinating. But he passed away in 1987, and he does leave behind one unsolved mystery. And it's going to be this box found in a shed. So, this man is a lifelong bachelor, so no wife, no kids. And he is the son of a very wealthy California family. He graduates from medical school at Stanford University. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before. And then practiced as a pathologist in New York City. But in 1957, at only the age of 34 years old, he leaves New York and returns to California to run the family cattle ranch. But again, like I said, this is not a typical ranch. The family owns 9/10 of the Santa Cruz Islands located off the southwest coast of Ventura, California. This is like extremely luxury prime real estate. At 62,000 acres, this is the largest of California's Channel Islands. His father, Edwin, a Los Angeles business and oil man. So they got their money in oil.
Yeah, that sounds.
But here's what's he purchased the island for $1 million. That was in 1937. Dang it, I forgot to adjust this for inflation.
1937?
Yeah, 1937.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll look it up in just a minute. So sheep had previously been raised, which is, I thought this was funny that they even shared this on Unsolved Mysteries, but sheep previously are raised on this island. However, the sheep, for some reason, pull a Lord of the Flies and become feral.
I'm here for it.
I know. And had to be removed to protect the environment. So cattle are then brought into the island. When his parents passed away, he takes control of the island. And according to Miss Daly, she's the president of the Santa Cruz Islands Foundation and Carrie's former personal assistant. He's very protective of this island. He used to say that the island didn't actually belong to him. He was just responsible for it since he had been handed down to him from his parents. Okay, so yeah, I did write this down. Here's a story I found. One day, Dr. Carey is walking down like the beach of one of his islands, and he comes across a trash bag. And he takes the trash bag back up to his house and opens the contents of the trash bag and goes through it until he finds an envelope with a name on it. On the envelope, he is able to find an address of a prominent yacht broker in Ventura. He then gets into whatever boat he can get into, leaves the island with the bag of trash, drives it to the owner of the yacht broker, drops the bag of trash on the man's desk, and says, "Excuse me, sir, I believe you left this on my island." That's a boss move right there.
I agree.
Yeah. So I found that story. I thought you would appreciate just like, I don't want to say petty because this was to me, this was petty in like the best of ways because
That's not petty.
what I'm saying is he could have just thrown it away and left it, but he wanted to prove a point that like this land is for me to keep safe and protected. He wasn't doing it out of like spite. He was petty to show them this guy that
He knew this guy.
Mhm.
Whoever did that, toss that bag because they thought they could just do whatever they want and get away with it.
Yes.
And he dropped it on his desk and said, "Hey, SOB,
Yeah.
you ain't going to get away with it. Here it is. And now I know it was you."
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, if you are that wealthy and have that much, you get to be petty like 50 Cent.
Yeah,
like, this is what I'm talking about. I don't mean petty as in a bad way, but petty as in like you buy all of Ja Rule's front row tickets. Like, things like
first
that.
3 rows or whatever it was.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's things like that. I'm like, I'm here for
Yeah,
it.
you're doing good things with your money if you get to be
I'm here
petty.
for it.
But to the right people who need you to be petty to them because no one else is going
Well,
to
that's what I
be.
mean. It's not like he targeted that
No.
guy.
Mm-mm.
That guy brought it to him. He dropped it in his
Yes.
lap. So he said,
Just like he paid for the documentary on P. Diddy. You did this.
Yeah,
Here's
you
your
did
bag
it.
of trash
So
bag.
I'm putting it right back in front of you, and I'm
Exactly.
going to show the world, and I'm going to show you
Mhm.
what you did.
Yeah.
So I'm here for it.
Yeah, when I read that story, I was like, oh, I've got to tell Ben about that. So, okay, this man lives in virtual solitude, though. Like, the island is a very private place, okay? He lives in the main house on the ranch, and he does welcome people into his home. As the years pass, though, he develops a very rigid schedule, which he expects all visitors to abide by. Dinner is a semi-formal affair that begins precisely at 7:30. It is like Downton Abbey, California style. The weekly menu never varied. I will say there was 5 main courses. I tried to look them up. I couldn't like nail them all down. But these 5 main courses.
I love this guy. I absolutely love this guy. He's one of my favorite individuals I've heard of.
These 5 courses are rotated in sequence throughout the year. It appears to me like even holidays, it did not matter.
I love it because I eat the same thing constantly.
At precisely the stroke of 8:30, him and his guests are sent to the living room for coffee, and the only dessert ever served was oatmeal cookies.
I love it. I love it because this guy, what he says is, I don't give 2 craps. If you want something different, this is my favorite dessert. You can either eat it or
You're at
don't.
my ranch house.
You're
on
at
my
my
island.
house.
You're in my island.
And this is the dessert I want.
I know. So,
But the next part is my favorite.
The best part is this has been at precisely 9 p.m. He retired for the evening, and it was lights out.
So I'm going to get off on.
There's a sign that I wanted to buy for Ben that was like, "Thanks for coming. Everyone must leave by 9 o'clock." Like 9 p.m.
This is my tangent, so you guys can leave some. You can leave some negative comments at me about me going on more tangents here. But this is what I loved about this guy because I am this way, and this makes me a little bit of a bad person. But I don't mind hanging out with people, and I actually don't mind having conversations with people. But there comes a point, and I don't know what it is in me, where I just want to be done. And I have yet to find the way to say to people, I'm done. I'm out. Leave.
Well,
And I don't
because
want
you
to be
don't mean
rude.
that in a mean way.
I don't mean it in a mean way. I've been sitting and having a conversation with someone for 15, 20 minutes, and something in my brain just says, I'm over this conversation. And I wish there was a part of me that could just say, look at that person and say, hey, you know what? I'm done talking. And I want you to be done talking. And I don't want this to ruin our friendship or our relationship, but I need to turn around
It's
and
not
walk
you,
away.
it's me, is what you want to say to people.
Absolutely. And I want to mean it.
Yeah.
And also, when people come to my house, I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But there comes a point where I look at the clock and I look at them and I say, it's time to go.
And I would say 9 p.m. is about that line for
It
you.
is that line
Yeah.
for me. And so for this guy to have
bless
that
Ben's heart, he's married to
an extrovert,
an extrovert who loves being social. I could have 50 people at my house hanging out and could care less what time it is.
I just imagined this guy, and this is what I loved about this story. But, I mean, obviously, we're going to get into the real mystery. We're just learning about this guy. But what I loved about this story is I imagined that he had people over and his grandfather clock clicked 9 and they're in the middle of a sentence and he just turned around and walked out and just went to bed. And like the butler had to come in and say, yeah, Mr. So-and-so's done. And they had to leave.
In the reenactment,
And I'm
the time
here
goes
for
off. He like looks at his he pulls out like a fancy pocket watch and is like, okay, well, it's time for me to retire for the evening. Thank you.
I'm here for it.
Good night.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm done.
I know. As soon as I heard that he had a heart out at 9, I was like, oh, that's my husband. Ben has a heart out at 9 o'clock every time. So, at the end of the day, this man, he loves this island. He even has a graveyard established where people are allowed to be buried there that are close to the island, including he has his parents' bodies exhumed and brought there. He's got a plot there. Like, this man deeply feels connected to this place. And yeah, there's a little chapel on there. So unfortunately, Carrie passes away only at the age of 64 of a heart attack, and he joins the lost souls, or I shouldn't say lost souls, the souls that are their final resting places, the island, and he now becomes one among them. And he leaves this entire ranch to a nonprofit, and the organization is kind of going into the island after his passing, along with the Santa Barbara agriculture environmental agencies, just trying to preserve the island and keep it in a pristine state. The organization ended the cattle operations on the island and has now become a national park. So I don't know. We've been to San Diego several times. We maybe have to check this little island out. However, we are told that on April 27th, 1990, one of these people that is out there working on the island is searching the island for old pesticides. And one of the places he searches is a 19th century wooden shed that had kind of been just like left on its own. It was like decaying, it's out there, it's kind of been forgotten about. And it's near the main ranch house, and in the shed he comes across an unusually tightly sealed copper box tucked away in a seed cabinet. When he opened the box, he discovers what appears to be human remains, but not like Dexter style, like human remains as in they've been cremated and put in this box. He shows the box to another employee who also recognizes the box as human remains, but no one knows anything like on the island. They're baffled. So they do find a few intriguing clues. There is a snap like for clothing fasteners that was manufactured in the 1940s, several false teeth from the 1950s, a diamond platinum ring that dated before World War II. There was also metal nails, staples, screws, which are considered to be part of the coffin. The copper box that was used to hold the remains was from before World War II, but during the war they were discontinued due to a copper shortage. So they have these remains tested, and they do find that the bone fragments yield a little bit more information. So they believe that they belong to an elderly woman based upon the findings, that there is some arthritic changes within the bones. And one particular is the wrist bone, appears to be female. There's a forensic anthropologist, Dr. Walker, believes that the woman was cremated sometimes during the 50s or 60s. So I will say, upfront, Unsolved Mysteries is really straightforward. Is it possible that the doctor who owned this island had some deep, dark secret? No, they do not. That is not the mystery here, that they think that he was some murderer who cremated a woman.
Cremated bodies and was storing them in a shed on the
It
island.
seems very unlikely. He actually had a reputation of being compulsive, which I don't think anyone is surprised about that, who meticulously labeled everything. And again, he had a chapel built on his island for people to be able to be buried there that had a connection to the island. So they say it's very unlikely to have loose ends, particularly loose ends that would have been human remains. It's just not something that was within his nature because, again, a lot of his behavior was compulsory.
It sounds like these remains were before his time.
Oh, that's an interesting theory.
Of owning the ranch. I mean, he didn't come into it to what, the 70s or 80s? If this person was cremated at what they believe in the 50s.
Or 60s. Yeah. So, who is the mystery woman on the island? All we know is that she died sometime after World War II, past the age of 50, maybe had arthritis, and wore a platinum diamond ring. And they even have a picture of the ring. The foundation honestly would just like to know who the woman is because they want to make sure that they do right by her. They want her placed where she belongs. And if that's on the island, they want to give that to her. And if it's off the island with someone else or with their family, they want to be able to provide that to them as well. And that this woman just receives an appropriate resting place.
Do right by what you buy.
Yeah. And that's kind of where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us.
All right. Update.
Okay, you guys, oddly enough, this is unsolved.
Really? I kind of, it's
an older
a tough
one. I guess there's no DNA that can be from cremated
And
remains.
I guess the question is, I mean, are you going to test it?
So the woman's remains are now inherited along with a cross and an unmarked grave in the island's cemetery. Her identity remains a mystery. There is a theory that a ranch hand or someone who was notable on the island had brought possibly a parent's or wife's remains to the island to be buried. That's why it was in a seed drawer. And then for whatever reason, never got around to it and either passed away themselves or, But it seems as if she has a final resting place and it's on the island and hopefully she feels at peace there.
Well, I mean, it sounds like they did what they could.
Yeah.
Do right, at least as much as they could by their remains. So.
Okay. All right. Now I get to get tucked in because Ben has the story that we've all been waiting for.
What are we at? What's our time
I'm not even going to tell you because I don't want you to shorten this. If I have to edit things to make this story what it needs to be.
Know where we're at. All right.
You guys.
I got my notes ready.
What are we talking about, Ben?
We're going to head over to the Himalayas.
I do want to go to the Himalayas someday.
I'm good.
I know. You're good, like literally on an island with 9 o'clock bedtime.
I'm good at my house at 9 o'clock bedtime. All right. Heading to the Himalayas to Mount Everest.
I do not want to climb Mount Everest, though. I'll just put that straight up there.
I don't think anyone is shocked by that statement. 1
ounce of that seems desirable.
I don't think anyone's shocked by that statement whatsoever.
Have you ever had a desire? You know what?
Absolutely not. No. Here's the thing, and I hike. I like to hike. Mm-hmm. Nothing about that. I've watched some stuff on it.
There are bodies on Mount Everest.
Yes, and you just leave them there. I know. I'm good. I'm good.
No desire
All right.
whatsoever.
We're going to go over there. We're going to be in the Himalayas. And we get told of a tale by the Sherpa people. I guess they live over there. About a half man, half ape. And might be known as the Yeti.
I'm
Or
so
the
excited we're talking about this.
abominable snowman.
The abominable snowman. I'm so excited we're talking about this.
I
One
mean,
of my
here's the thing.
favorite
I thought-
appearances of the abominable snowman is in the movie Monsters.
I thought the abominable snowman was in Pasadena.
That was great, babe. Don't even tell anyone what the reference is. If you don't get that,
Shame on you.
I don't know if you belong here.
Well, if you're under 30, 35, you might not get that.
But if you're also like over 50 or 40, there's a very short window of time that you might have.
Well,
gotten
you
that
should
joke.
because a movie came out about it not too long ago. Anyways, so Abominable Snowman is not in Pasadena. It is a legend over there. The Sherpa people talk about him, and we get a few people in here. We get a man by the name of Peter Brine. He tells us that the story goes the Sherpa people talked about how they met a man, half ape, half man, and he smelled terrible. He had an abominable odor. And eventually that just dropped and he became what was known as the abominable snowman. We get told that expeditions started on Mount Everest in the 1920s. And that's where tales started creeping their way across the globe about this Yeti man, this abominable snowman. And then in 1951, Eric Shipton found a track and he took a picture of it. We even see the picture. And it's very square-like, looks a little weird. And this really kind of blew up in the world. And this is the first time that Yeti man really started making headlines in the world. But
he had been known locally. The legend was local there. But it goes
That's
what we call viral.
Viral, yes, by this picture from 1951 by Eric Shipton. We get Lauren Coleman. He's an author. Shocking. An author bringing this story to Unsolved Mysteries. I wonder if he wrote a book about it. He tells us this picture really got things going. It was 13 inches long, 8 inches wide, and people were stumped and they saw it, and it was like, oh my gosh, is there this?
It was an above average footprint, is what you're saying?
I think it was more than just above average. Okay. It was quite large.
It was quite
13 inches long and 8 inches wide.
It had some girth to it.
That's ginormous. So in 1957, millionaire Texas oil man Tom Slick. If you have the last name Slick and you're in the oil business, you did it right. That's all I'm going to say.
Is this the guy that reminds me of the guy from Up?
No, Tom Slick's dead.
Okay.
He's not interviewed in this.
He's not interviewed in this. Okay, we'll get to that guy later. But yeah, Tom Slick in the oil industry and a millionaire.
Yep.
That sounds like he could be a character in a murder mystery.
He's a character in a Yeti mystery. He gets what Robert Stack says, a colorful explorer, Peter Brine. I already talked a little bit about Peter Brine. Peter Brine is from England, technically Ireland. So I apologize if I offended anyone.
Top of the morning to you.
Nope. And they get together and they say, we need to explore this Yeti man. Okay. So they head to Nepal. They head over there and they say, we're going to do some excursions. We are going to look for the Yeti man. Okay.
Well, the Irish guy had a bag of Lucky Charms.
I don't want. Take that back. Take it back. Okay. Slick. He was very. It didn't make. You know what? I'm going to skip that part because it didn't make any sense.
Okay.
something about medicine. He thought there was going to be there was a missing link between medicine and man. Clearly, I'm not skipping it. And that finding the Yeti man was the missing link for something in this world of his in the 50s. Okay. Thought it was super important to find the Yeti man. So they head out and they meet with the Sherpa people. They're indigenous over there in the Himalayas. Okay. And they talk to him. And they talk to him, and the Sherpa people view this creature as not mythical, that it is a real thing that lives in the mountains. Okay. So they have like this flip book of pictures of apes, monkeys, men, all this stuff. And the Sherpa people pointed to a picture of a primitive man, so a caveman. And they are all excited because
Neanderthal?
I guess. Is a Neanderthal the same as a caveman?
Yeah, so Neanderthal is like one of the oldest, like, of our DNA, our ancestral DNA.
So, yeah, that's the picture they point to. Yeah. And they're all excited because they think it's a real picture. They think that they got a picture of
the abominable snowman.
The Yeti.
Okay.
Because to them, it's a real thing, right? And they're like, no, it's not a picture, dude.
So, for anyone who's been to Disney World, there is a ride. Mount Everest. Do you remember that ride?
Matterhorn?
No, Disney World.
Oh, yes.
The entire queue waiting line is like walking through a Yeti museum. It's my favorite queue. That's actually great. The only one I could say through because they have pictures and...
But Disney just does it right.
I know. And that's the thing.
And
is like,
even
it's
standing in line, they do it right.
It is pictures and they're all... I looked them up. They're all real documented photos from this area. They have castings. They're not the originals, but you get it. Yeah. It's Disney. Newspaper clippings, all kinds of stuff. And we've been in that line and we've never really had to wait that long in line. But whenever we have been there, like I find that fascinating because you can read through. There is a ton. These people have shared a bunch of information about this person, about the Yeti. Yeah. And of course, I believe it.
So they describe them to, Tom and Peter as like 5'7", 5'8", very hairy, and like he's got a face with hair and square feet. Okay, all right. They describe him as what we know as the Yeti, what we picture. Close your eyes, picture a Yeti. That's how they describe him. Okay? So,
but what color hair does the Yeti have in your mind?
Well, they describe multiple times as dark hair.
Interesting, because I think of it as polar bear hair.
Yes.
You do too?
I think we do because that's all the pictures and everything. That's what the Yeti on the Matterhorn.
Yeah, fair.
Right?
Yes.
So... But in this thing, they describe it as dark.
They all describe him as having dark hair.
I don't think he says, but someone later on describes it as dark.
Interesting.
As dark hair. Okay. So 3rd week into the expedition. Can you imagine 3 weeks in an expedition in the Himalayas?
Okay, I could go vacay in the Himalayas for 3 weeks. Okay. But a snowy mountain?
Sierra's vacay is a cabin with a hot tub.
If there's a villa involved, I'm in. Charcuterie board, a hot tub. Yeah. Absolutely.
Television.
A good book. Some podcasts to catch up on.
Exactly.
Yeah, that 3 weeks, no problemo. 3 weeks of me hiking in the
camping?
snow? Absolutely not.
Yeah. On the 3rd week, they decide, listen, let's split up and cover more ground. Amazingly, as they split up, they each find a set of footprints. Peter finds a set of footprints in the snow, and it definitely does not look like any animal. Looks big old square foot. And he has a picture of it. I saw the picture. Kind of just looked like someone stomped in the snow. If you ask me personally, it was not a very good picture. Let's just say that.
I'm thinking of the Yeti casting that I've seen.
Okay, but no, well, I'm going to get into that.
Distinct.
So Tom finds a track, and it's not so much in the snow, it's like in mud. So he actually does a casting of it, And that's where I think a lot of people have seen that. It is very weird, funky looking square. The toes are all. It's 10 inches long and 7 inches wide, so shorter and smaller than the one previously done, but still quite large.
Was it a juvenile, you think? Juvenile Yeti?
Maybe it was a female one, and the one prior was a male one.
Maybe. But I just like
male usually have
I
larger
like
feet.
the imagery of a juvenile Yeti, just a cute little juvenile Yeti with a little beanie on.
A 10-inch foot, that's still pretty big. So they, send this foot casting to different places and they examine it, and they definitely say, like, to an anthropologist, and they're like, yeah, that's unique. That's all they say. He just says it's unique, but he can't say what it is. He doesn't know. Fair? That's fair. So, but obviously, this makes its way into the headlines. It becomes big. So, February 1958, Peter returns to the Himalayas for 4 months. That sounds terrible. Tom Slick financed the expedition. He is trying to find this Yeti. And after 3 months, he finally makes a breakthrough with the Yeti. He meets a Buddhist monk. And this monk, and this is me quoting Peter, okay? Peter tells us the monk liked nice scotch. And so
I think monks are allowed to drink.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's clearly making out this guy, he's big into the scotch. And this monk tells Peter he's sharing his scotch with them, and the monk says, hey, listen, you looking for that Yeti? Guess what? We have a Yeti hand up in our temple. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, you want to see it? He's like, heck yes, I do. So he takes him up to the temple, pulls out this box, opens it up, boom, there's this hand. This bone hand.
A shriveled up hand.
And so Peter's like, hey, man, can I take this? And the monk says, absolutely not. So he takes some pictures of it. And he's like, well, then can I just have a piece of it? And he's like, no. The monk says, listen, if you take it, like, this is sacred to us. And we believe, like, really bad things are going to happen. Like, big calamities will fall on the temple if you take this.
Yeah, it's
sacred to them.
It's sacred to them.
Show some respect.
Monks are no joke. They take like huge vows.
Absolutely. I have respect.
Yeah.
Respect.
This to them is a form of their religion. This is sacred to them. This is in their temples.
Absolutely.
And what's about to happen next is foul.
I agree. We're going to get into it. So he gets done with this expedition. He's taking pictures, but he's not able to take the hand. So in the fall of 1958, he's back in London. They're having lunch all together. Him, Tom Slick, and a doctor.
And? What's that guy's name? Dang it, I just lost it. Nicolas Cage shows up.
Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm. Nicolas Cage shows up and he says,
there's a clue.
You know what we're going to have to do?
We're going to have to steal the Declaration of Independence. We're going to have to
steal the Yeti hand.
So.
Let's ride.
Dr. Hill says, listen, you got to get that hand. And he's like, I can't, man. He's like, well, what should we do? I don't know. So
this is the scene from the very first movie.
I know. Dr. Hill.
This is the scene from National Treasure.
Okay. I'm not the one telling this story. Peter Bryan is the one telling this story. He says Dr. Hill reaches under the table, pulls out a brown bag, and drops a bone hand on the table and says, why don't you replace the hand with this hand? And Peter goes, I don't know if I can do that. He goes, how about you just replace a finger? He goes,
what they did in the movie
I think I can do
Treasure, didn't they replace the Declaration of Independence with a fake copy?
No.
Oh.
They just stole it. But then when the other guy tries to steal it, he replaces that with a fake one.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a
There's
great
just a lot of correlations between the
National
movie
Treasure.
Up and National Treasure
National Treasure
happening in
is
this
an
story.
amazing movie. It's one of my favorites.
It's a national treasure.
It is a national treasure. So
I just if I'm at lunch, I'm over across the pond having a fancy lunch somewhere, and someone dumps a human bone out on the table.
I know. It's strange. So Peter then says, all right, fine. He grabs the hand. He goes back the next year and he says, hey,
So
man.
he's just been carrying this hand around with him.
Yeah. So he goes back to the Himalayas, gets back with the monk and says, hey, buddy, you remember how you like that nice scotch? Look at what I brought you. He gives him this nice bottle of scotch. In the reenactment, this monk, he downs that scotch. He gets drunk, passes out. Peter goes, takes a finger off of the hand, takes the finger from the fake hand and wires it on, steals the finger. I have more about that story later. I did some research and takes it back. It's then studied by anthropologists. Is that the right word? Anthropologists? That sounds.
Yes, an anthropologist.
Okay.
You're getting it confused with anthropology.
I am.
Which is one of my favorite stories.
I know it is.
Look at the curtains right behind you.
I'm not.
Anthropology.
So they examine the bone on the hand and they're divided. It's by like 20 experts and they decide, we don't know if this is human or primate.
That makes no sense to me. How can you be divided on that? I guess there's not a lot of differences between humans and primates. Oh, yeah.
Technology? I don't know. Maybe we didn't know it enough. I don't know. It is the 50s.
But they said 50 experts?
20.
20 experts looked at this.
So one of the doctors like took a piece of tissue and like put it in an envelope and stuck it in his desk and said, I'm going to leave this here for later. So that sits there for 30 years.
150,000, you might want to hold on to that.
Might want to hold on to that one. In 1960, Marlin Perkins and Sir Edwards Hillary, they decided they're going to go on an expedition. I guess they were pretty well known. One of them was like a TV personality. I don't know who these people were because I didn't grow up in the 60s. They go on an expedition to look for the Yeti. Okay. They do a Yeti expedition, but they come back and pretty much say, hey, yeah, the Yeti ain't real. And we get the author back. This is what I love. This is one of my favorite parts. Lauren Coleman. He says, they went over there to debunk it. They didn't believe it existed to start with. And I'm like, yeah, but you went over there to prove it correct in the first place. You didn't believe that it didn't exist in the first place. Like, I could go round and round on this, dude.
Yeah, it would be like me out in the field looking for unicorns.
Yes, you believe they exist. I don't. But at the end of the day, we still go out there and
I'm looking to prove it correct, and you're looking to prove it.
And so that's what I'm saying.
So that's what I mean. It's the same
anything
thing.
You find, you are correlating that to your belief.
We're just on opposite sides.
I just think it's funny. He's criticizing them because he thinks they went over there and then no matter what they found, they used it to debunk it. But I'm like, yeah, but you also go over there and no matter what you find, you use to make your story right.
Absolutely.
And
they both have like an echo chamber of bias happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not.
So it's a.
I'm not trying to be negative on one side or the other.
Says it's a moo point.
It's a moo point. It's a moo point. All right. And he says, like, of course, because they look at the hand and they say, well, the hand had wired on it. I'm like, yeah, but it had wired because they stole it. I have a big problem with that, dude. You stole something from a temple from a guy that told you.
I feel like this could be a movie.
It could be a movie. So.
You stealing something from a temple, I've seen Indiana Jones. It doesn't usually go well.
October 6th, 1962, Tom Slick, the oil exec, he died in a plane crash. So unfortunately, a lot of
That seems like a curse to me. I know he didn't steal it directly, but he was involved in the group.
I did kind of find out he died in plane crash because him and the other guy were doing a bunch of expeditions in the Pacific Northwest looking for Bigfoot.
Oh, were they really? I thought you were going
Yeah.
to say BD Cooper or something. We were going to tie it all back
No,
to
no. B.D. Cooper was until the 70s.
fair point. And we already saw BD Cooper.
So Robert Stack tells us like a lot of the interest starts dying down, but the stories don't. There are a lot of people that come through and they tell stories. We get a story real quick from Kurt Fritzler. He tells that he was a photographer. He was there in the Himalayas. He was camping. He was at 15,000 feet. I'm sorry, 16,500 feet. And as they're camping, they hear these loud screeching noises coming in and out all over. Like he said, they were terrifying noises. Then we get Reinhold Messner. He's a climber and an explorer. He says he saw him face to face. He saw this big, hairy thing. It looked bigger than him, 5'8", and that's where he said it had like dark hair, but fur all over, a bunch of fur on his head and all over his body.
Story of my life.
Yeah. Well, interesting. So
you have quite the beard.
I do have a lot of hair on my face.
Yes, you do.
Unsolved Mysteries then finds out that doctor stuffed that tissue in his desk for 30 years. They tested it. They sent it to the University of California, tested that piece of tissue, and guess what? It was probably human, but we don't really know. They say most likely human.
Okay.
And of course, do you think that matters? No, because then we get Peter back and he says,
so
well,
we
of
just
course
have
it's
a
human.
Severed human hand floating around.
Peter says, of course it's human
Where
because
did the other guy get a human hand?
Great question.
Everyone's just acquiring human hands everywhere.
Well, you already said there's dead people on Mount Everest like crazy, man.
Yeah, fair point. That mountain has claimed a lot of people. And that's even what we know of like rich people that needed more to do with their lives.
Yeah. So Peter Burns comes back and says, well, of course it's human because we believe the Yeti is not just a primate or it's an animal. We believe it's a humanoid. That's the word he uses. And that's pretty much like the one doctor comes in. It's like, it doesn't matter what we say. Whatever they believe, they're going to use that first part as their evidence. If you say it's human, they're going to say, of course it's human because we believe the Yeti's part human. If we say it's not human, the guys that don't believe in the Yeti are going to say, see, we told you. So he's like, it's a mute point. So that's where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us with the Yeti.
Okay. What do we know? What's our update 2026 on Yeti Watch?
Okay. So Peter Burns died July 28, 2023 in Tillamook, Oregon.
I do love Tillamook.
I love Tillamook. So after this, him and Peter Slick really started doing more explores and expeditions in the Pacific Northwest. They kind of dropped the Yeti and were looking for Bigfoot. I mean, it's kind of correlates, I guess.
I mean, hey, they don't have to live in the Himalayas to look for Bigfoot.
No, I agree.
You get to camp in Oregon.
I read that like he did that for years and years, moved to LA, and then was like, yeah, I don't like it, and went back to the Pacific Northwest. So
I get it, dude.
I get it.
I would live on the Oregon coast in a heartbeat.
Yeah. The hand, the finger. It was refound. It was like a doctor had tested it, had boxed it away.
What finger are we talking about?
The finger that he stole.
Okay, the stolen finger of the Tibetan monk. Wait, Tibetan? No, Himalayan. Buddhist
monk was refound and retested in 2008. It is human. And they even asked Peter Burns about it. And he's like, you know what? We should just give it back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Turns out after Unsolved Mysteries, that place got pretty popular. Someone went there in 1999 and stole the hand.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, they went to the...
What's wrong with you?
Exactly. So that hand got stolen in 1999.
But now they've got a finger?
They tested the finger. It is
human.
Yeah, it's human. It's a human hand. So 2017.
I'm just thinking of a ghost now walking around the Himalayas.
Without a hand.
Without a hand. What could we name him?
So 2017.
One hand Jack.
So 2017, I guess there's a lot of museums or whatever that say they have found remains of Yetis that they believe are as possible remains. And they're in like multiple different museums. They took all of that, 9 different things that people said were remains of Yetis that they had found up in the Himalayas and believed that they were part of the Yetis, and they tested them all. 9. They all came back as bears.
Bears?
Bears that are...
Beats Battlestar Galactica.
Bears that live in the Himalayas.
Like bears? Or like polar bears?
Bears that live there.
I didn't know there was bears living in the Himalayas. You can be up on hiking the tallest mountain in the world and encounter a bear? That's crazy.
Well, there's a lot of that area that's not that you can get to.
Yeah. I mean, fair. It's an extreme
mountainous
environment.
Terrain
it's mountainous terrain, yeah.
But if you live down below, a lot of wildlife lives there.
Bears.
So all
interesting.
Of them. Multiple
Every single
different
one
bears.
of them came back as bears.
Yes, 9 different ones.
But
not
all the
9
same,
different bears.
All the same species of bears?
I think there was like 2 different bears that are native to that area.
Okay. Interesting.
So the Yeti doesn't exist.
Check yourself.
At the end of the day, there's always going to be people that still believe that the Yeti exists. AKA Sierra.
I love the Yeti.
I'm here for it. Again, this is the same thing as I say about Bigfoot. If there's one that I wished existed, it's that. I wish Bigfoot existed.
Yeah.
I just can't buy into it yet.
Okay.
I wish the Yeti existed, but I will say, Mount Everest is quite now, there's constantly people there.
Yeah, 100%. Dude,
Because
have you heard of the trash problem that's on Mount Everest? This is insane.
I have heard of...
Everyone pause what you're doing unless you're driving and Google the trash that's like...
And that's terrible.
It's sad because I grew up, again, in the Pacific Northwest, and the rule always was what you pack in, you pack out.
I have a manager, like, you can get me on a tangent on that. Like, I love the outdoors.
Yeah.
Don't trash it. And I understand that, like, for some reason now, like, Mount Everest has become this big thing for so many people that they want to do it.
It's not so many people.
Like,
it is for the top 1%. It costs like $90,000 to do it.
But there's a lot of people that go and do it.
Yes.
There's some people
like too many wealthy people in the world.
Well, it's not just that. If you are a climber, like, you will save years and years, and like, this will be your life thing.
And
just don't go there.
Leave your trash
just don't
there?
go there and trash the place.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, it's not like it's this super remote place anymore. It should be, but it's not.
Yeah.
And, you know, we still have yet to find a Yeti. So do I believe the Yeti?
Well,
no,
they
not
probably
really,
migrated when the people started becoming there more often.
You're probably right. That's the answer.
They're very intelligent. They're solitary creatures. They don't like
you know
to
what?
be...
If they exist and they haven't been seen or photographed or captured, they are intelligent.
Yeah, they bury their dead.
They bury their dead.
And they don't like people. They're like Bens.
I would bury my dead, and I don't like people.
They are the Bens of the animal kingdom.
That's all I got for you. You got anything? You got your thoughts on the Yeti? You believe it?
I think the Yeti is real, obviously. I think that they have likely migrated. And I like to think of a juvenile Yeti out there somewhere. Also, big fan of the cooler.
Question.
Yeah.
Is the Yeti and the Bigfoot, are they like cousins?
Yep,
Are they the
100%.
same? They're not. Are they the same, or are they just like
same.
distant relatives?
I believe that they are in the same species. I think that they are highly intelligent and that they've migrated, because right now we're seeing Bigfoot sightings through Ohio and Canada as of right now, as of April 2020. What's 2025?
2026. It's 2026 this year.
2026. And so absolutely, I believe Just like, okay, because here's my thing, right? Back a long time ago when the Arctic ice caps still all existed and all of that, there was an ice bridge between Russia and North America or Canada and Alaska. And so I just believe that it's very possible that some went that way towards the Pacific Northwest and migrated down, and then the other ones went the other way, and there is a whole species of them.
This is what I'm talking about. How you just concocted this massive story for a thing that we have zero evidence exists.
What? What doesn't exist?
A Yeti and a Bigfoot.
Animals and humans have been migrating for millennia, Ben. And we know that. We know that. And that there was an ice bridge that connected like Russia over, and that is how some of the first Neanderthals made it over this way and migrated down. That makes perfect sense. Pacific Northwest. They walked right across that ice bridge, down Alaska, through Canada, all the way down to Tillamook, Oregon.
No, that's where this guy lived.
Myrtle Creek, Oregon. Okay?
All right.
And then the rest of the Yetis who were like, I don't really want to go that way. I'd like to go that way. They went the other direction.
They went to the Himalayas.
And maybe it's like the elephants where like their gestational period is really long or something. Or maybe their breeding is really like limited. Maybe they can only have like one child or something like that. And so they just haven't had mass population. They're solitary creatures.
Do you think they went to the Himalayas because they thought no human's going to come here?
No, I just think they preferred that weather.
Okay. All right.
They have got hairy bodies. They stay nice and warm. They do well in those environments.
Okay.
Okay. All right, guys. That is season 4, episode 17 of Unsolved Mysteries. And now we've actually done a little bit of chitty chat. So we'll just, fun question time with Ben will continue. I'll ask you this question, Ben.
All right.
With everything we've ever talked about, what do you think is the most likely, quote unquote, mythological, and I put that in air quotes because we see different on it, creature? What is the most likely mythological creature that you think either does exist or at one point has existed?
I don't know.
That's not an answer.
What do you think?
No, tell me what you're thinking. Like, what are you muddling over right now?
I would say most likely, like a sea creature of some sort, like the Loch Ness.
Fair.
To an extent.
We know so little about.
Well, and
water.
like what I'm saying is, with dinosaurs and that, like we know, creatures have like animals have existed that are now extinct.
Okay. Yeah.
So there might have been an animal that we don't know much about that existed before.
Okay.
That
so
is
sea creatures.
That
Kraken. What are we talking about? You got to pick one. Can't just say the ocean, which is the most vast water animal, the most vast amount of like space on the earth.
Well, that's why I say that. That is exactly why I say, because if there's something that we know the least about, it's the ocean and the water.
Absolutely. But now I need you to pick one.
I just did.
No, you picked.
No, because like.
You picked an environment. I didn't ask for an environment.
I told you, like a creature like the Loch Ness or something like that.
So you think the Loch Ness. You're laying in on the Loch Ness, which is just a lake monster, not an ocean monster.
Well, I don't think he lives in the lake.
Well, remember the Loch Ness monster we talked
in Canada?
About? They have the underground canals that connect to other places.
Yeah, I don't.
So it could be a freshwater and a saltwater creature.
I just don't believe a lot of these
I
things.
understand. I didn't ask you which one you believed in. I'm asking you to pick one.
I did.
Which one you think is the most likely to be proven to be real? Not even today, but have at one point existed.
The Loch Ness.
The Loch Ness Monster, Nessie,
Yeah,
in Scotland.
sure.
What about the Canadian version of it? All forms of Loch Ness monsters?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'll take that. I'll
All
take
right.
that for 300.
Okay. Fair.
Like, do I believe it lives in a lake? No, I think I made the Canada one, I made very clear it's not there.
What?
Yeah, we've already talked about it. No, absolutely not. But I'm just saying, like, I already said it earlier in this episode. I would love for Bigfoot to be real. It's just not. We, as a civilization, have spent so much time all over the place exploring. If they existed, we would have seen it by now.
Okay.
We would know.
Okay. You are welcome to believe that.
I know I am. And that's what I believe. Like I said, I spend a lot of my time out in rural areas.
Mm-hmm. The middle of nowhere.
And I am amazed by, like, I have gone to some pretty remote areas, and I'm amazed that I still see signs that humans were there before me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've come across petroglyphs and all, and dead ghost villages, or what do you call ghost towns? Like,
Well, even just trash.
yeah.
Like, I find old rusted cans
Mm-hmm.
that people have left behind in, like, crazy areas.
Locally, the legend here would be the chupacabra, right? You should
Yeah.
have encountered a chupacabra by
I don't
now.
know much about it, but yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of like, yeah, man, if Bigfoot existed, the Yeti existed, we would have seen it.
Loch Ness.
I guess the only reason I say Loch Ness is because
Well,
the water.
Like 10%.
That's what I'm saying. Is the water is
There's
so
still a greater possibility for that to
unexplored.
be real.
So
Yeah.
there's so much that we might not know, and
Yeah.
especially if you're going to open the door to something that might not be alive today, that could have been and dead now. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there is water creatures that existed maybe millions of years ago. I mean, look at dinosaurs, right? I mean, that they were on land, so we are able to explore that and find out that they existed. But we are much less likely to explore what existed in the ocean millions or even hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
200 years ago.
Absolutely.
We have no idea. We just don't have the technology and the ability to explore the ocean and water.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think there is such a vast opportunity, or I guess probability,
Yeah.
that something that we have zero idea about exists.
Well, we have an idea about it because it's made its way through,
Or
lore.
we just made stuff up.
Yeah.
All right, what about you?
Well,
Everything?
okay. I'll tell you this. If you want
Unicorns?
okay, I'll tell the same thing that in the same way that you are like skeptical, I will kind of scale it back and say what? Dragons, I think, have one of the greater possibilities of being some form of them being real at one point in our history. Only because, again, I've said this before, of so many different ancient writings talking about some sort of form of a dragon creature when we didn't have the ability to have like a global communication taking place. So to me, that is just that something existed, not that necessarily exists now, but that maybe it is an extinct version of itself. The other thing that when I was thinking of this question was some sort of mermaid style, or same thing, kind of water creature. Dude, the Kraken freaks me the F out. Like, Kraken's actually the one thing that I'm like, I don't ever need that to be real. Deep water stuff, terrified. I am terrified to this day of the giant squid. The giant squid is terrifying. And that thing is real and was only discovered like not very long ago. But I would say, yeah, same thing, some sort of water creature. And I just said mermaids only because same thing. There has been there's writings of interesting creatures and behaviors around water and things that have happened on the sea, especially because as humans, we have been traversing the seas from from the dawn of time is something that we've spent our time in and around water and seen unexplainable things. And so whether it's a mermaid like we know of today or some sort of other creature, I don't know. But yeah, dragons.
Merman, Dad.
Oh,
Merman.
and giants.
Giants, huh?
Well, I mean, David and Goliath, like we have writings again of like giant people. So, I don't know. All right, guys. Okay, I'm really excited for you guys to join us again next week where Ben and I actually get to talk about aliens and ghosts as we recap another episode of
Unsolved Mysteries.
Bye.